welcome back to the Living Novel. I love doing this show here at LTV. And as you saw from the opening, it's called The Living Novel. It kind of attaches itself to a piece of literature that I've been writing and what I consider a new genre of literature. And if you are seeing this show, and then you could log on to the Bayside Experiment, I have a landing page, and it only comes off when this show is on. So if you came onto the BaysideExperiment.com while the show is on, you can see what we're doing, and I kind of interact with people on it. It's kind of fun. But anyway, regardless of that, I'm here with a very special woman. I've known her for a while, and she's delightful. She's pleasant, always has a wonderful smile going on. Doesn't get mad at me if I can't make an opening that she had that unfortunately I was in the city and couldn't make. But Donna Corvi. Donna, it's great to have you.
Oh, you're so kind to invite me. This is exciting.
You're exciting. So the definition of a curator is to select, organize, and watch over a collection of, we always think of it with art. Some people want to use curator with other things. I'm working on my studios out in L.A. We had a film going on, and everything stopped for a while. I walked out, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Well, the art director is curating the set. I said, curating the set? What are you doing? I'm the art director, and I'm just curating it. I'm like, this is $30,000 a minute. Curating a set, please just decorate the friggin' thing and get us back and moving. So curating. So people do want to use it in other places. But no, you are a genuine curator. And you have a gallery. You have the wonderful Art Depot. I want to hear a little bit about that and how it started. I know some of the background, but I'd love to hear it from you. And you're the president of it.
So we have an acting president, Rosa Hannah Scott. She has been unwell, so I'm VP, so I've actually been running everything. But we look forward to having Rosa at the shows, and she puts her artwork in whatever member shows we have. So she's here. She's actually our living legend because she was part of the founding people of the Montauk Artist Association with Percy Heath, that great jazz player, bassist, back in 1998. So she goes way back. So we're lucky to have her. In fact, we did her oral history that's up at the Montauk Library. That people can hear her whole story. But so the Montauk Artist Association started as a group of artists out in Montauk with no place to go to talk or show their work. And it's a fun story. Percy Heath was a local fisherman, resident artist, musician.
I know him as a musician. I didn't know him as a fisherman or anything else.
Oh, yeah. He had a boat called the Fiddler.
Oh, yeah?
Because he played the bass. And he was a really fine artist. And he was sharing his woes one day to Dick White, who's still a big guy out in Montauk, saying, I really need a place. We need bricks and mortar. And Dick said, I have to introduce you to my friend Virgil. He runs the MTA. And that day, they were all three in the same place. Percy shook hands, and the next thing we knew, the depot building, which wasn't being used anymore by the MTA, was gifted to the Montauk Artist Association. And that's where it's been. This is its 26th year.
Nice gift.
A wonderful gift.
Yeah.
Wonderful gift. I've been running it since, for the past 3 years. When some of the women who had been doing a fabulous job with it, COVID hit, they couldn't come back. They went to Florida, Alabama, and then it's like, okay, time to roll up my sleeves. So my husband John and I have been running both the art shows on the Green in the summer and the gallery.
Your husband, by the way, really interesting guy. And for anybody, just stick with us because right now, her husband John and my clone are over at the Art Depot, and we're going to cut over to them, and they're going to give us a little tour. John's going to give us a little tour of the Art Depot, and then they'll bring it back to us. But he's fun. So the two of you have that personality. I mean, is it Montauk living that keeps you pleasant all the time and funny and seem relaxed and kind of comfortable to be with?
Montauk always does that, but I feel like stars were aligned and fate just set it up because for me to take over the gallery was perfect. I've been a member. I've shown there. I know a lot about art and local artists. And my husband has been in a band since high school. He's always played music. He has a big man cave music recording studio at home. But it was perfect because the gallery never included music as a part of it, even though our founder was a great musician.
So upstairs, right?
Yeah, John started these, open jam sessions when those have been really successful. And we started 2 music awards to graduating students at the Montauk School. So, and then, it's a Percy Heath Music Award, and we give them a nice $250 gift card and to Sweetwater, so they can continue their love of music.
So kind of scholarship and award. That's wonderful.
2
For the students.
of them.
Which school?
At the Montauk Public School.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. That kind of stuff giving to the community is really it's important, and that's why there's a sense of community we have at Montauk.
Oh, and beyond. We actually opened this season and last season with our very first show of the year with a show for the East Hampton senior artists in advanced placement art. And they are so thrilled. They're graduating, right? And they've never been in a gallery, and they've studied art, and you can't believe the accomplished artists these kids are.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud to give them a show in mid-May.
So you're an artist in your own right. You do your own art. You've got some stuff here. But you joined Chris LaCour. I did an interview with Chris. Fun, love him. But he came up with, introduced a philosophy that he said, and he said that you are part of it, is your desire to have Montauk known as an artist community because of all the art that you have. People, they come out, they think, oh, beach, tourists and stuff. No, it's got a really beautiful art community, and you and Chris are kind of pushing that, and that's why it makes it even more poetic that you have, as soon as you come into town, you get an art gallery right there at the depot. So I love that. So tell us about working with Chris and your feelings about establishing or having Montauk more recognized as an art community.
Sure. It's funny. That having said that, that depot has been an art gallery for 26 years. There's still people in Montauk that don't know that. They just buzz by too fast. We're actually working with the town to put a more permanent sign out on the road. But when Chris opened his gallery, it was another thing meant to be. He's open year round, and I wish we could be, but we're not winterized, so we can't be.
Too cold in that building.
Yeah, but to have another gallery person there, Chris is on our board, so we use him to help, curate how the art goes up on the walls. I curate the artists that get into the shows. We have a good relationship, and we both believe artists and galleries should support each other. And we're happy that there have been some other pop-ups out in Montauk. And so I think right now there's 5 galleries. Chris and mine, one down by Gossman's.
Dalton.
2, yes, and then 2 in town, Candace Seslow and James Katsipis. So, and that's really great. That's really great. I hope that all stays.
Yeah, it's a great identity and brand for Montauk because it is a great place to create art. So actually, to get back to what I started, the curating, selecting, organizing, and watching over art. So you do that, and you and Chris are doing that really well. So when you are curating and you're going to do a show, how do you decide what the next show is going to be?
Oh, that's a great question. In the past, before John and I got involved, you had to be a member of the Montauk Artist Association in order to have a show. And that was fine, but it was so limited, right? Because there's a whole world of artists in Montauk and beyond. When I say beyond, I like to show local artists, but local is all of Long Island, personally. So what I changed is our members can be in 4 member shows a year. Not juried, you're a member, you're in it, you can put whatever piece of art you worked on in it. But then I fill the other show slots with people that haven't shown in Montauk. Some of it's personal taste, I really love this artist, or some artists have reached out to me, and it just kind of flows. I don't know. We just had a show with one of my all-time artists. Oh gosh, David Slater.
I know, that's the one I missed.
He is a living legend himself, and Aliska Janson with her gorgeous jewelry, which I actually had to
Oh,
wear
cool.
today.
At first I thought it was a tattoo. No, but that's lovely.
No. And Dominic Cantisano. And right now, the show that's up is 3 local women artists, which is fun because it's myself, who I do acrylic paintings of trees. Mary Daunt does pastels.
Who does the wood thing?
And that is Sally Richardson. So we all live in Montauk. We're all looking at the same gorgeous scenery, but our work is all so different and in different mediums. So those are the kind of things I look for when I put together a show.
The wood, it's a perfect offset. What you just said, the combination. You're looking at all the paintings, you're walking around, but you have these textile kind of things, and the shapes of everything, and you're walking around it. As we're going to go see, I'm with John in the Art Depot, and he's showing us that exact piece we're talking about. And then when you're curating and putting something together with Chris,
Right.
how do you guys collaborate?
So once I have decided on the artists I want to be showing together, and it takes a lot of work because you want the works to all relate well. Chris's forte is that when all this work gets dropped off, it's sort of chaos, right? You have all this artwork lined up against the wall. And it's like, all right, what do we do? Chris has this magic where he knows what paintings need to be next to each other and at what height. And he just makes it all look so effortless, and it's not. It's a huge talent to do that, and he does it really well.
Sounds like it's good to be an artist to curate an art show.
Absolutely.
So you get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's in the Art Depot. Mm-hmm. But then when you're doing the show in the center of town, how do you choose the artists there? Because they all do come from all over.
They come from all over. So we just had a show here in June. The next one's August 16, 17, 18. We sell them out both. Back in the old days, they used to cram like almost 100 tents on that green. But we limit it now to 72 tents. So it's more spacious.
Only 72.
only 72.
Yeah.
But now there's 6 feet between tents. Artists can hang their work on all 3 sides. People can flow through it better. And we get, like 150, well, this year 160 something applicants who want to be in the show. And we go through every website and every request and determine what really qualifies as a fine art show on the green. A lot of people have wonderful, wonderful work, but sometimes their work is more suited for a craft fair and not a fine art fair. So it's tough.
So the distinction, craft fair, fine arts.
Right.
Help elaborate on that.
So, like we have ceramicists that like do sculptures and whatever, and some people's main body of work are cups or vases or plates, like utilitarian stuff that might be more suited for the craft fair. Whereas I have other ceramicists that do these, extraordinary wall hangings or these Japanese vases. I don't know if you've ever seen them done in fire. I think it's called raku. They're just unique individual works of art. So that sort of is a guide, or is each piece of work unique? It doesn't come in a set of 4.
So here's a question I'm asking everybody, every artist. I don't know how you could come up with the answer to this. And I was just talking to Brad Beyer, and but also to Dalton, and I asked this to Chris, so now I want your answer. How do you judge what price to place on a piece of art when you're going to sell it?
Gosh, it's funny. Everybody has their own method. Some people measure it by the inch. A friend of mine once said when somebody asks her, how do you price your work? She says, it's based on my 45 years of being an artist. So what price can you put on that? It's hard. It's hard. You tell newer people maybe to put their pricing a little lower. I don't necessarily think a huge price tag on something means it's a huge piece of art. There has to be a balance. And I think for each artist, you have to be comfortable knowing that if somebody pays that price, you're okay to let it go, right? You don't want to price your work too inexpensively. For me, it's never been to price it to sell. It's been, here's this work I love. They're all my children. So, and I think this is a fair price. And people will either think that's a fair price or not, but that's okay, because my goal isn't to, look, all artists want to sell their work. They want to feel appreciated and validated. But that can't be your primary objective. So, and there are people out there that might disagree with me, but
I said that to Chris. I said, so Chris, you've rented this space for the LaCour Gallery, which it's such a great size for a gallery too, and he does a good job, great lighting, great movement of everything. So I said, so Chris, just guy to guy, just being honest. So you're in the middle of winter, and you got to pay the rent. So would you lower the price of a piece of art to sell it so that you could pay the rent? Because then you have practical considerations. And if you're an artist, there's William Quigley over there in Sag Harbor. And I look at the price he charges for things. And I'm like, oh, you must be a pretty rich guy, charging all this. And that point that you made that I totally get, anything that I create, it's your baby. It's like, I've put my heart and soul into this. I'm so happy with it. And then you finish and I'm going to let somebody else have it. It's like I would just have a hard time selling anything, giving away. But $10,000, oh God, that'll make me feel a lot better about it, But $200, I don't think so. So it's what you feel is worth it to you to let someone take it.
Right.
And if it's not worth it to you, then you say, forget it.
Right. And, there are art buyers out there for every budget. I mean, I have a champagne taste and not a champagne budget when I buy art, and I do collect art. And but there are people that have been around a long time. They deserve the prices they're getting, and there are people that I don't know. I think overprice their work. A lot of people underprice their work. I think I'm very fair. So, but to your point, like even with us at the Depot Gallery, we have overhead, right? But we're kinder to artists because our overhead is less, so we charge only like a 25% commission. And I know all galleries have to charge 50%. That they have to. But we try to be just kinder, and hopefully that enables the work to sell.
I'm going to send you a link. My brother is a really very talented artist. Growing up as little kids, we were 10, 11, 12, 15, and everybody was always raving about his art. He just took to it. And you look at his work, and he's getting kind of famous. Got a good name for himself. Down in Annapolis, he's the official, some of his stuff is the official thing for the town. But he does portraits. And I look at them, and you can see the personality, the character of the person, the subtleties of it. I'm like, wow, Scott, I totally know this woman just by the way you, and everybody says that to him. And I think that's what, with Michelangelo, the Why Everybody Loves the Mona Lisa. Hey, it's a great picture of a woman, but it's that little smile, that little smirk that she has that you can see. She's kind of flirting with him, and she's smiling. And it's that beautiful little subtlety that he captures with the Mona Lisa that everybody looks at and stares at it. And after a while, it's like, oh, my God, she's kind of like flirting, and you kind of get her. So when I see a piece of art like that, I'd be happy to pay more for it and say, oh, no, they've captured something with this. Heim felt a little bit about the size of something. And I'm like, but Heim, look at Salvador Dali. He's got some pieces that are this big and...
Vermeer.
Yeah.
Vermeer. They're dead and they're all masters, so not quite the same. But yeah I get,
but so the size is small there. But those are so worth it. And to think of the little work and the brush strokes that you'd have to do on a smaller piece. So that's why it's such an interesting question to me.
It's funny you said all that because I recently got invited by the parish. They invited 6 artists to do a Picha Kucha talk, right? So I just did that, and it was wonderful. They showed 20 pieces of your work, and you talk. And I have a painting in that was at a gallery, and a friend of mine came to the show, and she said, I know exactly where you painted that tree. It's like, oh, come on, because I painted trees, right? She goes, that tree's on the grounds of the Montauk Library. I said, darn it, Lisa, you're right. But how did you identify it? But and it was a nice compliment. She said, I love your work. So when I look at trees, I really look at them more. And so, I could recognize where you did that one. And I was like, wow, okay.
And if that's part of your sensibility, and you're going to spot a tree that is worthy of painting, then somebody else who has that eye is going to say, "Oh, there," and then they'd recognize your work. That's another interesting thing for me is I've looked at with art especially is but what hasn't been done before, and what is completely unique, and how can you identify one artist from another? And a friend of mine, and I think you've met her, Lisa Gindy.
Yes.
And Lisa, I have two things from her. I have the Brooklyn Bridge, and then I commissioned her to do a lamp and a lampshade for me, and it was gorgeous. But I can look at her work and go, "Oh, that's a Lisa Gindy," and I said, that's tough to be able to do something that the second someone sees it, they recognize, "Oh, that's a Gindy right there." So I look at that as another thing that would identify this is more valuable because I can really identify this person's style.
You're absolutely right, Greg. And that's something I ask because our membership is everything from people just starting to paint to people who've been painting their whole lives. And it's a common question. They'll say, "Oh, I've been painting this, but it never sells." I said, "Okay." I said, "I think what you want to try and accomplish is when you hang your piece of work up on a wall with 50 other paintings around it, can everyone identify it as yours? It doesn't matter if all you want to paint are sunsets or beaches or whatever. You have to you have to give it your own signature because I think that's the goal, right? You don't want your work to look like 50 other people's because then, or you can, maybe that's all you want to do and that's fine. But if you're concerned that you're not feeling an identity link to your work and it's not selling, just step back and figure out how to make it really, truly your own. And it is very hard. It is very, very hard.
Yeah, style. How do you create your own style? So look, as long as we're talking about styles and people's art, and the differences, and forgive me, the artist name that does the wood sculptures.
Oh, Sally Richardson.
Sally Richardson's. Look, I want to show everybody that. So let's cut to John and my clone over at the Art Depot and get a tour of the Art Depot we've been talking about.
Sounds good.
Hi, we're here with John Papaleo. We're in front of the Art Depot here in Montauk. As soon as you get off the train, you are welcome to the artist community in Montauk. And there's this term, John, the highest and best use of a property. And this, I believe, is the highest and best use of this property. Tell us about how you decided to do this and how the Art Depot came about.
Well, the Art Depot Gallery's been around for about 26 years, 27 years.
26 years?
Yep. It was actually founded by a gentleman named Percy Heath, very famous jazz musician, acoustic bass players, played with many, many, many famous people. Percy founded the organization, was the first president, and he relied on that time as friends, other art friends in the community to establish the building. He made contact with folks at the Long Island Railroad, including Virgil Conway, who was at the time the chairman of the MTA, and we were allowed to occupy the building from that point forward. I believe at that time the railroad was ready to demolish the building.
Demolish it.
Yeah.
Demolish it. That would have been
Turn this
tragic.
into a parking lot. Right.
Yeah.
So we kind of came in. We did extensive renovations on the interior of the building, not much on the outside, but on the interior we added staircases, moved walls around, new floors, new walls, new lighting, and stuff like that. So we just kind of brought it up to a modern day standard. Recently we just redid it again. It was originally redone back in mid-'80s. We redid it again just this past year. New floors again, new painting, new walls, new lights, and we started all over again. The whole fresh outlook on things.
So how much fun is that? I didn't realize it was like empty for that long. When did they kind of decommission it?
Yeah, I'm not sure when they actually used it for an official waiting room. I would imagine was when they built the platform down at the other end down there. They decided they didn't want to have folks indoors or whatever it was they decided. And I think that's when they just kind of shuttered it up.
Yeah. There's something about the romance of old train depots, that you got to love. But the fact that you guys help save it, preserve it, and turn it into an art depot is great. Well, why don't you give us a tour?
Sure, come on inside.
So it looks great, nice and bright and cheerful,
Nice and
and also you got a lot of pieces in here. How many pieces of artwork do you have?
No, off the top of my head right now, I don't know. We just hung this show yesterday. Tonight is the opening reception for this show from 5 to 7. I know we're not live, so folks will be here tonight at 5 to 7 from this.
So Donna and Greg in the studio, we're going to be coming back and showing you some of that too.
Yes, yes. So what we have here is 3 different artists today. We have Donna, we have Mary Gaunt, and we have Sally Richardson are the 3 artists. Every 2 weeks we change. We have a new show every 2 weeks. We close down Tuesdays to take down the old show. Wednesday we hang the new show. And then the immediate Saturday we have our opening receptions from 5 to 7. So every 2 weeks we have an opening reception here.
So I want you to do me a favor.
Sure.
I want you to hold this.
Sure.
And just and walk around. I'm going to follow you. Tell us a little bit about the artist.
Well, let's see. We'll start at this end.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Over here we have Mary Gaunt. A lovely painting by Mary. Pastels, actually. Mary's a local artist, been in the community forever. Good friends. This is Donna Corvi, painter
Donna.
also.
Donna, this is yours, huh?
Donna's my partner here in the gallery. And we have some more Mary Gaunt here, some more Donna here. And we have some more Mary. And Sally's work is all these wooden pieces that you're going to see around. And Sally's very naturalist. You can see how she just takes a piece of wood and is able to transform it into some magical shape.
Yeah, I love this.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Everything just kind of flows. And really, if you look at this show as a whole, you'll notice that it's all about nature. It's all trees, it's all wood, it's all Mary's pastels, all natural stuff, all stuff that is right here in Montauk, actually. As we go around, you see there's even more. We have some more Donna here, some more Mary. Again, Donna's stuff is all acrylic. Mary's stuff is pastels. So you can see the big difference in the way that works. And we have some more Sally's stuff here, her sculptures. And again, more Donna going on here. And more Mary, more Donna in the corner, Sally on the pole here. You can see again how fine and delicate she's able to get these pieces of wood to look so beautiful. And here's some more Sally stuff, Mary stuff. All pastels, Mary's. And back over here, we have even more Donna stuff coming around this corner. Donna, Mary, Mary, Mary. Some of Sally's stuff. And you can see some of her smaller stuff. Sally makes a lot of big pieces as well, a lot of fine wood pieces. All wood pieces, all natural stuff. Nice big piece by Donna here in the corner. One of my favorites, actually. More Mary, more Donna. And we kind of mixed it up a little bit rather than just grouping artists in one corner together. We spread it all out to kind of even it out and give it an overall look of everybody in one giant art piece, if you will. And again, you can see here all these twists that she's got cut in here. And she did all very fine sanded and cut. Very, very beautiful stuff. And we just got a couple of more pieces here. Oh, and while we're passing here, this is a plaque that was presented by the railroad. And you can see Virgil Conway's name is right here. He was the chairman at the time we took over the gallery. And this was to commemorate 100 years of Long Island Railroad service out here in Montauk in 1995. So we know they started 100 years before that. And you have Donna here, and last but not least, one more Mary piece on the edge here. And that's what we have on our show for today. New show in 2 weeks.
So hey, you can hold the mic. So let me ask you 2 questions. The art of curating. When you curate a show, what is that? How do you curate a show?
Well, actually, I don't actually do that. I'm not qualified to do that. But Donna does that with Chris Lucore from the Lucore Gallery.
Yeah.
Very good friend, wonderful gallery.
Chris.
Okay, Chris is a great guy. And he comes in, he helps us out with the curating with Donna as well. They're both trained professionals. I am not. So we lead the heavy duty stuff to them. I'm more of a guy who carries the paintings in and puts them on the floor, not hangs them on the wall.
So this might be a tough question for you. I asked it to Chris. How do you price a piece of art? How does someone decide this is worth $10,000?
Yeah.
Well, this is worth $5,000. This is worth $20,000.
Yeah.
How does someone price?
I don't know.
You know, it's
I don't know. I honestly don't know. To me, if it was me, it would be by how much sweat and labor I put into the piece.
That'd be kind of for me too.
Yeah, but you know what? I just don't know, because I know I can see Donna sometimes works days and days and days on a piece, and it's one price, and then she works a couple of minutes on another piece, and it's twice the price. So I really don't know how that exactly works.
So here's another thing. You are a really interesting guy. Every time I see you, you got this wonderful personality. You're always cheerful and fun. Tell us a little bit about your background, about you.
My background. Okay, well, you want me to go way back? I'll go way back.
That's far back.
Way back. I was born in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
In 1953 in Sister Elizabeth Hospital on 4th Avenue in the 60s in Bay Ridge. I lived in Bay Ridge till I was in my mid-teens.
Yeah.
In my mid-teens, my family moved from Brooklyn. It was very traumatic, to Staten Island. At that time, I was in high school. I went to the High School of Art and Design, as did Donna, in Manhattan. So I used to commute from Brooklyn to Manhattan. My family moves to Staten Island. Now I wound up commuting from Princess Bay, Staten Island, to Midtown Manhattan to go to high school. It was terrible for 4 years.
Wow.
But yeah, and then after that, I was in the military for a while. I got drafted out of high school. Came out of that.
So if you were, so if you were in 1953, and that meant you were in the Vietnam War draft.
Correct.
So you got drafted.
Correct.
Do you remember what number you
3.
were? You were number 3 in the draft. Oh my God.
There was no way out.
Yeah, I was. So I was born on March 7th, and the year that I had the draft, they pulled March, and you're like, oh my God, 6.
Sure.
I was like, oh,
Right,
shoot.
right.
But March 7th, which is my birthday, was number 2.
Oh my gosh.
6th and 7th sequential, and I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But luckily I didn't have to go for other reasons. But,
Right.
But so yeah, you and I.
But I was
same age,
fortunate.
same year.
I was fortunate. I did not go to Vietnam. I was not a Vietnam vet. I stayed in the United States. And as I said, I had gone to art school with Donna, but I was a photography major. Donna was an art major, illustration major. I was a photography major. So because of that, when I did go in, the Army very smartly said, okay, we're not going to send you over there. We're going to send you to a place in Fort Riley, Kansas, and you're going to be assistant to the base photographer. And that was my whole...
Yeah, that was all. Okay, so one last thing.
Sure.
So you also do these very interesting things. I didn't realize you're a docent out at the
That's
lighthouse.
true.
Tell everybody about that.
I work as a docent out at the Montauk Lighthouse. I love my job out there. I work usually 3-4 days a week with a whole bunch of other docents. And really what we do out there is just educate people to lighthouses and the history of lighthouses, particularly our lighthouse here in Montauk. And it's just a great opportunity to meet people. We meet people every day from all over the world. People speaking 100 different languages a day to us. Of course, we don't understand any of them, but we make believe we do. But we have a good time up there. We have a really great crew, great staff up there. Everybody's wonderful. And for the most part, people who come are always in a great mood. Everybody's ready to have a good day, good fun day up at the lighthouse. So we do get a lot of great folks up there.
It's a great asset for us.
Yeah.
And it's really,
Yeah.
you have to come out to the Montauk Lighthouse.
Yeah, you have to
It's a great
visit the
day.
lighthouse. If you haven't visited the lighthouse, come out to the lighthouse. It's well worth the $15 and the $6 parking fee in the state.
John, listen, thank you so much.
You're
It's a
welcome.
pleasure.
Very welcome.
It's
I'm
a
going to give you
pleasure.
this back.
Thanks. And you know something? And also in the center of town, whenever there's the art fair, these are the guys that do it.
That's us.
And we see him, and we've interviewed him at the Center Art Fair too, him and Donna. Okay, so back to you in the studio, Donna and Gregg.
Hi, Donna and Gregg.
So thank you, Gregg and John over there. You know, my clone is doing pretty well over there. You know, the scary thing would be when you don't know which one, if you're the clone or if the other's the clone.
Now
But the
you're
other's
scaring me.
I can't teach my clone to speak French well enough. You know, ouvre la bibliothèque. It says something else. You know, like put the oven in the Bible or something. But anyway, so look. So you got to see this great gallery and this great work that we're talking about. We got to see your work. Lovely stuff. And gentle. All of your work it's kind of like it fits you. You know, it's very gentle. It's peaceful. It's serene. That's another thing that if you can look at a piece of art and go, oh, you know, that just pleases me. You know, this thing behind me, Haim did this, and I started seeing it behind me. I was like, you know something, I kind of like that thing. So I'm buying it from Haim.
No, that's a great choice because I think art should definitely stir
Yeah.
emotions in you, whether it's calm or a wake up. It's like I have a very eclectic collection, and I love looking at I call it wake up art because it just really is this delicious, not assault on your eyes, but feast, right? Color, shape, energy. That piece has a lot of energy.
Yeah, I love the splashes of color just moving around. So we were negotiating the price, and so that was where that question came up. How are you going to price this? And I said, just be gentle on me. But the first price he came out, I said, oh no, that works for me. You know, not something I would spend every day, but I said, oh no, I feel very comfortable with that. So that's, if you feel comfortable buying a piece of art. But, so you are buying art. So I didn't know that. So you're a collector of art. What kind of stuff do you collect?
Well, I like local artists. I'm trying to think how many pieces. It's not a huge collection. I probably have maybe 24 pieces, and most of it is painting. There's a couple of photographs in there, and they have to be small because I don't have huge. Well, all right, there's one piece that's pretty big, but most of it has to be small because I don't have huge wall space. And plus, my home has my artwork hanging up as well, but I don't want it all about my artwork, so mine's intermixed with all these other local artists' works, and it's wonderful.
So when you go to someone else's galleries and you look, what are the first things you notice?
Well, it's interesting. I try and go to as many openings as I can, but when I have to weed it out, it has to be some art that I'm really dying to see because I've either never seen it before, or I want to learn more about what it is, who this person is, and what they're doing. So I look for the imprint, right? Like, can I recognize this work anywhere else I go? And of course, the answer is usually yes. That's why I'm going to the show.
Say that again.
The imprint.
Yeah.
Will I recognize this piece of art anywhere else I go, or whatever part of a series it is? And the answer is usually yes. That's what's drawing me to it, right? I've seen this work. I might not I know the name of the person. I may not have met them, but it intrigues me, so I go. And that applies to not just wall art. It's like sculpture as well. Sculpture can be just, I don't know, awe-inspiring, especially large-scale sculpture.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So this is going to be a little bit in contrast to what you had said before about the work and what you gravitate to and what you see, or what you think it should express. But Ezra Pound said, the artist is the antenna of the world. The artist is going to see things and look, and I'd heard it said that the artist's function is really to get you to look and see the world in a different way. I love that thought. But a lot of the art that I see out here is seeing the world as it is, and beautiful, landscapes and seascapes. I don't see a lot of controversial things, but getting you to look at things in a different way. You good with that?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I can think of a couple of artists who do environmental work that sort of makes a statement. It's very attractive on the wall, but if you get to know them and their style, their work is about the environment. And the first one that comes to mind is Anne Seelbach. I've loved her work forever, whether she's doing her mixed media pieces or her paintings. She has yet to show at the Depot. I'm going to try and get her into a show. But there's typically a flip side to most artists. So I'm known for all my bare trees, my leafless trees. But there's also an environmental side, right? So for me, trees are all about, they may be bare, but they're not dead, right? That they're getting ready for rebirth. But my environmental series are called tree totems. So I actually pick up pieces of broken branches or twigs, take them home, I sand them, I spray paint them, and I create black. They're usually always black. And I make these wall sculptures or standing sculptures out of dead tree bits as a reminder, if we don't take care of the planet, we don't take care of trees, we're done for. And this is all we have left, piles of carbon, and
Piles of carbon.
There's beauty in these things as well, in this terrible form. But that's not the direction we want to go. So it's sort of like an artful reminder of what could easily happen on this planet with the environment.
But I guess you would say part of my art is kind of documentary video making and storytelling. I really gravitate to, especially because of a community in Bayside, Queens, that I've launched a little web TV channel to try to help inspire people to good deed doing. My favorite stories are random acts of kindness and good deed doing. So I gravitate to that. And but trying to make a statement with things. And I am an environmentalist, and I do believe in we got to really be paying attention, and everybody's getting more aware of it and more aware of it all the time. So I love art that's making a statement and helps lead us. I think art just leads us. It teaches us and it gets us to look at things and think. I don't know how many other things we have around that make us think. Most of the things around us, even television, stops us from thinking.
Well, exactly. And some people don't want to think or be reminded of the negative. It's scary. It's scary for them. In fact, many years ago, I had at the Depot a show of my tree totems, and they're black. I think they're beautiful, wall hangings and whatever. And a woman came in and she said, I really like this one, but can you do it in another color? And I was a little taken aback because I think she missed the whole point of what these pieces were about. So I asked her what color she thought it needed to be, and she said pink. And so I went home and I thought about that, and I did another piece, and I made it in pink just to kind of, I don't know, torture myself, I think. And she loved it.
Yeah.
And she loved it. But
And how did you feel about it?
well, I gave her the printout of what the Tree Totem series is about, right? So she had to have liked something about the message, but the color black was too scary for her. She wanted pink. So I never did that again, by the way.
I just having someone, like I said, I had commissioned Lisa to do a lamp thing for me, but and I just let her do whatever she was going to do. I just can't imagine going to an artist saying, "Oh, it's really nice, but could you do it the way I would want it done?" It's like, no, I'm the artist, and you if you like what I've done, great. If you don't, you be the artist.
That was the whole reason I left illustration. I illustrated in the city for like 18 years in Manhattan, and I loved it. But, half the time you'd show your work and people would say, "This is phenomenal. I love that. I have the perfect job for you." And it's a nice paying job. But can you do it like this with these colors? It's like, So, all right, it's commercial art. You take the job and you do it, but the satisfaction level was declining because that was happening more and more. So I was happy to reach a point where I said, my 18 years in commercial illustration is done. I'm moving on to painting.
18 years of doing other things that other people wanted to illustrate.
Right.
So.
And, as long as you could do them in your style and have fun with it, it was fine. But so many times,
Well, your background, what kind of training did you go through? Did you go to art schools? Did you?
So, I actually went to High School of Art and Design in Manhattan. And then right after that, I went to Parsons School of Design. And right after that, I hit the pavements as a sole proprietorship illustrator. And then probably maybe 8 years after that, I had a studio on Prince and Broadway where I was doing illustration work.
Not too far from where I lived. I was on
really?
Canal Street in West Broadway for 10 years.
Great neighborhood, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
And when here's another question. This was actually a controversy that I had with the love of my life, girl Dominique. Her father was Gilles Arcadio. He played with Edith Piaf, and he was like this French, one of the French treasures, like we'd have the White House Awards. But she was a great artist. But we would talk about art, and she had gone to all of these fine art schools, Beaux-Arts, Francais, everything else. And her feeling was that you had to have learned from someone else, from teachers about art, in order to be a great artist. And I would say, but at some point there was the original idea. There was the original thought. Don't you feel that that is as important as anything now, to have the original thought? And she just said, yeah, whatever your thought is, but you have to go by these rules. And I was like, and what you've taught and how you use this, these techniques and that techniques. And we just, it was just a running kind of thing with us.
I love that you say that because when I did illustration and I studied, right, my work style was watercolor and airbrush, completely different from what I do. And when I stopped that and went to painting on canvas, I was cleaning out a storage closet, and my mother had saved all this artwork I did when I was a little kid, right? And I pulled it there was a box, and I recognized it was the first official paint, oil paint box that my mother gave me. I was 11 years old. Opened it up, and there was the very first painting I did. And what was it, Greg? It was a bare tree on this little 8 by 10 canvas, and it threw me for a loop because what was the first thing decades later that I painted after my illustration career? It wasn't a dead tree, but it was a bare tree, and I've been painting bare trees for so long now I can't remember.
So you have some DNA going on in there.
There's some sort of DNA or mystic message or whatever that I have to keep getting out. In fact, my kids say, "Mom, you're still painting trees. Can you paint something else?" So I actually did, and actually one of them is out in the hallway here. But, so I challenged myself. I painted a couple of things that were not trees, and I think they were happy that I was taking a different path, but I went right back to trees. It's not over. I don't think it'll ever be over.
But, we have one of my favorite people in the room with us. Jody's here. Jody, what would you think if we took a picture that she has out in the hall? Could we insert that into this? Oh, cool. So Jody's great. So thanks. I'd love people to see what your piece is here. How long do art shows stay up?
At the Depot for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
That seems kind of short.
Yeah,
Yeah, there for 2 weeks
it's
in
a
and out.
decent amount. There are a lot of shows that happen around town that are like 3-day shows, 2-day shows.
Yeah.
In fact, the one that was here, that was a whole big event, was a one day. And those are hard because you have to bring your work, set it up, and pack it up, and take it down. I think 2 weeks is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, for the length of time. So when you do the weekend art show in town, you got a number of issues to deal with, like weather. Mm-hmm. So I know Lisa was freaked out once. She was bringing all the stuff out, and all of a sudden the weather came in. How do you deal with that?
Your fingers crossed and you say a prayer. Most of the people, and that's one way we sort of view applicants who want to be on the green too. We this year we had 17 new people, but we make sure they understand the kind of tent they have, they understand about the weather, and that they're prepared, because we've had very windy, stormy weekends, and we are open rain or shine. But most of the people that are on the green, they're used to it. They travel from show to show, and they love it, and it doesn't faze them in the least. In fact, we prefer having drizzly days or gray days because that means people aren't at the beach, right? They're walking through town looking for something to do, and then, boom, there's the art show.
Well, it's really one of the greatest contributions to the town, and when you do the art show, people are coming here for that. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's everybody, all the local commerce must love you. Because, you bring a lot of people to the town, a lot of money comes in, but it's just a great show, and you can spend hours there. So
can.
it's 75, it sounds like a lot, but maybe it's not. But I know when I go, and sometimes I'm walking around with a camera and just kind of doing a little walkthrough. I don't want to take anything away that would stop people from coming. It's like, oh, I just saw it all. I don't want to do that. At the same time, I just wanted people to get a little feel of what it's like. And I'll be walking through, and it's like, oh, I'm stopping here, and I'm stopping there, and getting to talk to people and looking what different things that they do, and then hearing some of the personalities. So, okay, so this is personal. I'm going to get personal.
Okay.
You and John have lovely personalities. You seem stable. You seem emotionally and intellectually stable, and intelligent, and calm and peaceful. A lot of the artists that I know have little quirky things. Lisa Quigley. That's like at least personalities, and you think, oh, well, that's the artist personality. But no, so you must meet a lot of different personality types with the different art that they bring.
A whole ton of personalities. But that's what's so fascinating about it. Yeah. And it's interesting, John, maybe because he's got a creative background too, he's much calmer than I am, and he sort of grounds
calmer than you are.
Oh, yeah, he grounds me. I mean, certain things will flip his switch, but not often. It takes an awful lot. But no, artists are just naturally slightly quirky. That's just a fact.
I working in the film industry for as long as I did, writers are really my favorite people, and I always said, and the writers love me for it, but I always said that the only truly creative part of the filmmaking process is the writer. They take something from nothing and they deliver something, and then suddenly you've got all these people that have jobs. And something that would make some of the directors pissed off at me is when I would tell all of my stage managers, I said, look, if they ever bring the writer to the set, make sure you call me. And I'd come down, as some writers aren't allowed on the set. Stephen King, it's in his contract. You go near the set, you don't get a dime, and we don't talk to you again, because the writer will go down and say, oh no, this is, they'll have something to say. I'm good friends with Nelson, and he did govern the general's daughter, and they let him come to the set, but he's a genuine, lovable, good guy. But usually you don't let the writers to the set. But I would would come down to the set when the writer was there, and I would wait till there was the right pause, and I'd say, everybody, hold your places. The directors would get pissed off. Hold your places, everybody. Stop. Don't move. I all want you to listen to this. And I would bring the writer over and said, I all want you to know that you all have your jobs because of this person. I want a big round of applause. And the writers would be like, oh man, I love this guy. Some of the producers and directors didn't like me too much, but that's the person, the writer. But talk about crazy. They're a different breed. On Santa Monica Boulevard, Dan Tana's, really fun bar. Writers. I would go in there all the time, and you just meet them all, and all of them have some sort of crazy multiple personalities. And if you're going to be writing a script and you have to write different characters, I tried screenplay writing and script writing, and a good friend of mine, Barnett Baines, he did What Dreams May Come with Cuba Gooding Jr. and Marvin Williams, and we were talking, I had him read something. He said, Gregg, I love the storyline. We said, but all of your characters speak exactly like you. He said, you have to have like different personalities and think, how is this person, different vocabularies. So yeah, writers have to be a little schizophrenic.
Yeah, artists aren't that much different. That's why when people drop off their artwork on drop-off day, we send them home. They're not allowed to stay to watch us hang, because we don't want their input.
Oh, yeah,
we don't want
yes.
it. We don't want them to say, I want to be in that corner and I want this. No, it's like you drop your work here, and then we'll see you tomorrow at the opening.
Yeah, same thing. Film industry. It's like, listen, you wrote it, but you're off of here now. So, look, I love having you here, and I'd love to do more.
Thank you.
And I love that John and Gregg are still hanging out there over at the art. Be careful if you don't know whether you're the clone or the clone is something else. But he was fun to talk to, and he did take me upstairs to the music room. So when's the next show in town?
You mean on the Green?
Yeah, on the Green.
On the Green, August 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Yeah. So
Rain
we'll
or
make sure we
shine.
can promo that a little bit. And then your art. If someone wanted to see yours, do you like a website, something that people could log into and see your stuff?
It's donnacorvi.com. And,
Corvi. DonnaCorvi.com.
and the show that's up now at the Depot through the 15th has my work, Mary Donce, and Sally Richardson. And it's really a gem. It's a very zen show of the beauty of our beautiful Long Island. So.
Sally's stuff, I'd be tempted to buy one of those pieces because you looked at it and so gently sculpted, and you could, and one thing that you got, the one piece that you saw that had the two different calibers wood, but they all were seamless, and the movements of them very calm, very peaceful. If something can affect an emotion in me, you got me. So I found her work, your work too, very gentle, but it's like you, lovely personality. So great addition to anybody's home. So DonnaCorvi.com. And everybody, please remember, if you are seeing this, even when it's on at 4 o'clock in the morning, sometimes, if you are seeing this and you logged on to the Bayside Experiment, we take a landing page off and we let you come in and explore. There's all kinds of fun things in there. There's a section called That One Out with the Mayan Calendar, which is like helpful hints of how to have a better life and fun things to do. But if you want to have a better life, log into DonnaCorvi.com and come out to any of her shows at the Art Depot out here in Montauk. Thanks.